This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Chris Gronkowski. Chris, how's it going?
What's going on, man? I'm doing good. I've been up since 4 a.m. grinding, man, moving into a new warehouse. So it's been a lot of work, but and man, I like the grind. I'd rather be busy than bored.
Yeah, definitely feel you on that. Before we go into like your business and your career, how have you been holding up during COVID?
Man, it's been interesting for sure. I had to switch up a lot of stuff. I got 3 kids under the age of 3. You might hear one of them in the background crying right now, but yeah, man, that was a big change. Trying to run a business from home with 3 kids and stuff. So I had to learn to adapt. I had to learn how to pick up a couple extra hours by pushing my workouts until my kids woke up and cranking out some work at 4 a.m. instead. So it's definitely been a change up, but it's been good, man.
Yeah. Now going back in time, what was your first memory of just like playing football?
Oh, playing football, probably backyard football, man. Had to be playing with the brothers. We'd always play tackle in the backyard, and all I remember is if I got through, if I broke through, man, and I scored a TD, you had to throw down the big spike and do the dance after, and that's what it was all about, man. So yeah, definitely backyard football in the snow. You take the big hit, but you wouldn't really feel it because you just land in a big snow pile. So those were the days, man.
Yeah. Now growing up with 3 brothers, what was that like competitiveness wise?
Yeah, man. There was 5 of us total. So 4 brothers, and it was exactly what you think it is, man. Every day was a battle. We had to win in everything. If we didn't, we get in a fight. If we lost, we got into a fight. So every day ended in an all-out brawl in everything, man. From backyard baseball, we play like little mini sticks in the basement. Any game that we could think of, we would play. And it was always a competition, even who could eat more, who could lift more. Everything was a challenge.
Before college, I mean, what was your recruiting process like?
For me, there wasn't much. I was maybe a 1-star, or if I was lucky, they'd say I was a 2-star.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually going to the Ivy League. I had one offer for D1 at the time. It was the University of Buffalo. I was right down the street from our house, and they wanted me to play guard, which I didn't want to gain another 50 pounds and play off as a guard. So it wasn't really an option for me. I was going to the University of Penn. I got into the business school there, the Wharton Business School. And, I thought it was a pretty good opportunity for me. At the last minute, I did get a full scholarship offer, D1 to the University of Maryland. And for me, it came mostly because of my grades. I had a great GPA. They were having some guys that were failing out, and they were struggling. They were about to go on academic probation. So they pretty much offered me and said, "Hey, you better come in and get a 4.0, because we need the help at this point." And man, so yeah, kids, stay in school, do your homework, get good grades, because at the end of the day, even if you're not as talented as another guy, you might still get that spot, man, because colleges are looking for guys that are dependable. And if you are that same talent as someone that's not as high of a GPA, they're going to choose you all day, because it's they know you're going to be less of an issue, less of a problem, and more of a chance of succeeding and making them look good. So grades are big, man. Grades are a lot more important than I think a lot of people think. They think it's all about talent, and scholarships come solely because of that. But I'm a great example of just the fact that grades helped me get where I was in the D1 scholarship environment.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much ask every athlete that comes on my podcast about their recruiting process, and you're definitely the first one to say something like that. You got in because of your grades.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's how you go from a 1-star to a full scholarship, man. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it's tough to get recruited out of Buffalo, New York, especially for football. I think we had 5 D1 players in the entire state of New York. Compared to something like Florida, which is a similar size, they had over 300 guys that would go D1 a year. So just a tough place to get out of. And I was fortunate to get a scholarship and get on the path that I went on.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I know you transferred to Arizona. Just what was your overall experience like in college at Maryland and Arizona?
Man, so I love college. It was a lot of fun. Just 2 different style programs is what it came down to. Maryland was extremely old school, next man up mentality. We're going to beat you down, and you're going to come out and you're going to be tough, absolute tough love. Came to a point like I walk by my head coach who didn't recruit me because I kind of got this last minute offer. I say hi to him, he looks the other way. That was kind of how it was. So never really felt like I belonged there, like I deserved to be there. And so for me, it was a tough place to play. School-wise was awesome. I had fun. I liked to party, and so that was cool. But Arizona was kind of the opposite way. Went there. I had to sit out a year. So I played baseball for a year. I tried to get it back, man. Taking 2 years off was not easy. You lose the swing pretty quick. I played the summer ball as well in Phoenix in the heat, and man, that was blazing hot. But came back from that, and I was playing both sports, and it was just crazy, man. I lost like 20 pounds doing it because I was working out with both teams. I was practicing with football. I was doing double headers with the baseball team, and I just had to give one up. I wasn't playing. Arizona was number one in the nation at the time, and so there was just really no chance of me playing at that time without playing for the previous 2 years. I just didn't have it still. So I passed up on that opportunity. Went back to football, and completely different I guess coaching style there. Everyone was there. We were having a good time. We were having fun. It felt like I deserved to be there. I was able to kind of make a role for myself. Came in at a fullback position where they were only using it about 7 plays a game. First game I played 15 plays, had a touchdown. Second game I had 25 plays. Third game I had 30 to 40 plays, and that's how it was, man. Kind of built my own spot there, and man, it was just a good time. It's something that I went into thinking that was kind of the end for me. I never thought I had a chance at the next level, but I just kept grinding, man, and the opportunity came, and I took it.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Was your goal to go to the NFL or not, or you were just like, I'm just going to play D1 and then like regular job?
So yeah, man, my goal was to get the best education possible. So I went and I got into the business school. I was one of 2 players on the team that was in the business school at the time. So you had to actually apply to get in. And so I was one of 2, and I said, man, I'm going to get the best degree I can. So I got an accounting degree, and I figured, hey, man, if anything, I have all these extra credits from summer school that we have to be at for football. I could just take a course or 2 more, and I'd have enough to get the tryout for or take the CPA exam. So I figured that was my best opportunity to make 6 figures pretty quick out of school. So that was kind of my goal at that point. So I never thought I'd make it to the next level. I was always told that, man, it's a 1 in a million shot, right? 1 in a million to make it to the NFL, or I mean, odds are probably even worse than that. And for me, I couldn't even get a college scholarship. I wasn't even the best in my own family. I wasn't even the second best in my own family. So I just didn't even think it was even a chance. I was the shortest, the smallest, and probably the slowest in my family as well. So just didn't think it was in the cards for me. But it wasn't like I was just going to give up on it, man. I was always going to put my best at everything, and I did. And when the chance came, I just jumped on it.
Yeah, and then what was it like just going through the process of like, the pre-draft with your brother?
It was cool, man. So we got to train together.
Mhm.
We trained in Miami, Florida together. I was pretty banged up for my senior season. Rob missed his entire junior season, so we're both kind of fighting through injuries and pushing each other to the limit, really, to try to be the best that we could. For me, it was pro day. I didn't get invited to the combine. For him, it was actually ended up being pro day as well because he wasn't able to perform yet at the combine. So prep was intense, man. It was really 3 months of stuck in a hotel, and the main goal was to get healthy, get faster, get stronger, and be the most appealing athlete that you possibly could for draft day. And then just leading up to it, man, it was pretty crazy because Rob was coming off of a season-ending injury. He had only really played 16 games in college, and he declares for the draft early. So there was a lot of just big question marks there. First round talent, but a medical history that could drop you severely down in the draft. So when the first day went by and we were in New York City and he didn't get drafted, it was a tough day. There was a lot of uncertainty there, and we didn't know what was going to happen. So I ended up going second round the next day. We all got super excited. After that, flew home, had a little party. I didn't get drafted. I knew that it was a very unlikely possibility that I would, but I was getting calls during the draft, and the second it ended, it was almost a blessing for me that I didn't get drafted, because it allowed me to then pick the team that I actually wanted to go to. Whereas my brother Dan, he got drafted the second last pick of the draft, and he got stuck in a situation where there's a lot of good tight ends in front of him, and the only reason they took him was because it was a value pick. He was the best talent that was left in the draft at that time. It wasn't necessarily a position they needed. But to get back to what I was kind of hitting on before, the second the draft ended, I already knew where I was going to go. My agent did a really good job, and I signed with the Cowboys within maybe a minute or two after the draft ended.
Yeah. What was that feeling like, just signing with the Dallas Cowboys, and how historic they are?
Man, it was it felt surreal, man. Like, you didn't even think it was really happening, because all I heard growing up is America's team, and they were just so dominant, and they were beasts, man. And so when I heard that, I just wasn't really getting calls from them or that much interest from them, so I didn't really see it coming either. And then just kind of out of nowhere, my agent hits me up and says, he didn't even tell, he just said, we're signing with them. It wasn't like, hey, these 5 other teams, because I could have probably signed anywhere at that point as an undrafted free agent, because they want camp bodies, man. So they're looking for them. But he just called up and said, hey, this is the right opportunity for you. I've done my research. You're going to Dallas. And I was like, man, let's go, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, and then I know you played. Well, actually, what was your first game in the NFL like? Were you like nervous, or was it just another game?
Man, yeah, hell yeah, I was nervous, man. I was shaking on my first play. My first start was actually, so I did start the first game. I was actually in a backup role, but we had a package in where I was the third tight end. So I started the first game, and then the first game our starting fullback got hurt, and they released him after that. So my first true start at fullback was against the Bears, and I was lining up against Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. So my very first play was an ISO up the middle against Urlacher, and I just remember having my hand on the ground, and my whole arm was just shaking, man, because I was just ready, man. I was just, it was that moment under the lights, the first play, and all the nerves were getting to me, man. And I expected this massive hit up the middle, and it ended up being just I guess a lot less dramatic than I thought it was going to be. Someone like Brian Urlacher isn't in his 15th year in the NFL because he's filling holes and smashing heads still. He's in the league for 15 years because he's a smart player. He knows how to use technique, and he knows how to fill a gap without hurting himself or other players. So that first play was just really just a really technique sound play by Brian Urlacher to just fill the hole, do his job, and get on to the next play. So it wasn't like this massive hit, head collision, or anything like that. And it was kind of like, oh man, I was expecting like a tank to hit me, and it was kind of just another normal play.
Yeah. All right. So I know you played for the Colts, Broncos, and Chargers also. After that, did you retire, or you just wanted to go into the business world, or like what happened after that?
Yeah. So I finished up my rookie contract. So I actually continued on when I went through those 3 teams. So I signed a 3-year deal. After that, I ended up signing with Chargers about 2 months after my contract ended. So signed with them, a 1-year deal, and in camp I got hurt. So I had a high ankle sprain. Ronnie Brown fell on the back of my leg in practice, and at that point, man, you're damaged good. So most of the time, unless you're a really good player, they're going to release you. So they had to release me with an injury settlement if they wanted to get rid of me. So at that point, I had 3 years credited towards my retirement. So I already had pension. I already had kind of what was a dream for me, like an amazing start for me. And when I got hurt, they offered me 3 games salary, which gives you a 4th credited season. So you have to at least play in 3 games, or you have to be hurt for at least 3 games. So they offered that up to me. I took it. Ended up being more like a 3-month injury instead of a 3-game injury. So I worked through that. I tried to come back and went to Miami for a tryout. Ran a 40 on my third step. I ruptured my hamstring, and at that point, it was have surgery or kind of just hang it up, man. And it wasn't like a bunch of people were knocking on the door for me. It was kind of, I would have had to grind. I would have had to really, work really hard to get back into the game. So at that point, my wife's business at that time that she started when I was in Denver started to take off, and I was doing a lot with her, and we were actually making really good money to the point where my first year outside the NFL, I was making more money with her than I was playing. So it's really easy transition for me right into the business world.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you had your mind on it like way before the NFL anyways.
Yeah, man. I always had I always had a second plan, man.
Yeah.
Plan B, even when I was playing, because I knew I wasn't a superstar, man. Every contract that I signed, it could be void that day. If I wasn't on the roster on a Wednesday, I wasn't getting paid anymore. So I had no guaranteed money. My 3-year contract meant absolutely nothing. So if I showed up late or it's one bad play or one bad game, I'm on the street the next day. So I always had a plan B, not because I wasn't all in, but because I knew I was in a position that isn't even needed anymore, man. There was 28 starters in the NFL at the fullback position. 4 teams didn't even carry one. And all the teams that I played on, I was the only fullback on the team. So, the second I got hurt, like I did in Indy and had pec surgery, they just used a tight end is what it came down to. So there was definitely a disposable position. So I always had a plan B. It was actually to go into taxes when I was playing. I saw an opportunity where these are players that are making a lot of money. They're paying in every single state that they play in, and they don't know how to file taxes. They don't know anything about it because they've never been there before. So these CPAs are getting some really good money to do it for them. And I saw that as a great opportunity as someone that did it themselves while they played, to come in and be a trustworthy person that can get them a good tax return. So that was my initial plan, and that all changed, man, really quick.
Yeah. All right. So before I ask you about IceShaker, what advice would you give to like a younger kid trying to make it to a league or get a D1 scholarship?
Man, my advice would be, man, speed all day, man. Speed kills, like they say. My dad brought in a speed coach for us when we were in high school. I went from a 5.0 to a 5.140 guy down to a 4.7 to a respectable time to a time that would get me a scholarship. Is what it would come down to. If I ran a 4.1, I'm sorry, a 5.1 or a 5.040, it doesn't matter what my game film looked like. At my size and my height, I was never going to get a scholarship anywhere. So I think speed, man, speed, agility, get that work in. And when you're young, you can make so much improvements because you just don't know. You don't have the form. You don't know how to do your starts. You don't know how to run correctly. And so get someone in there to show you. You'll dramatically change. In one summer, really, is what it came down to. And my dad brought in this guy. He trained 4 of us. My oldest brother, actually, I guess, yeah. So sorry, 4. My youngest brother was too young at the time, but 4 of us, a couple of our friends. He started with like 7 guys, and the next year he was at 4 high schools, training entire groups and teams because it was so successful because people saw dramatic increases in our performance. So to me, doing the speed training, agility stuff, just being able to control your body, is what takes you to that next level. So a lot of ladder drills, a lot of speed drills, and just overall technique. I think took us initially, to that D1 level.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, especially for that guy too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a good little business for him.
Going into the IceShaker, how did you think of that? And what made you want to create your own brand?
Yeah, man. So it was a day like today in Texas, over 100 degrees out. I was at the gym, and man, my bottle was it was warm, tasted awful, and it's making little sweat rings on the ground. And I'm like, there's got to be something better out there. This is probably the 3rd bottle I used that day because I brought one to work. I brought one to the gym, and I'd come home and use a different cup or whatever. But I just really wanted one bottle that I could use all day, every day, no matter where I was. So, at work, at the gym, at the pool, on an airplane. I want to be able to just easily fill it or easily clean it and then have the ability to make a protein shake or whatever on the go, so that I wasn't relying on junk. I could just throw some powder in my bag, and at any moment just make a quick shake if I wanted to. So that was the overall goal. Was able to make it out of kitchen grade stainless, so it wouldn't absorb the odor. Insulated it so it would keep the drink cold for over 30 hours, and or hot as well. And so I just said, man, I'm just gonna make the best cup that I possibly can for myself and anyone else that's just trying to live an active and healthy lifestyle. So it was my passion. I was working for my wife. It was amazing. We were doing really well. Still are. The company's still growing, but at the end of the day, that was her passion, and my passion was sports and fitness. So to me, if I could, basically write off a gym membership and make some videos every day of me working out and call that a business, I'm all in. So that's kind of how it started. And man, 4 years later, we're just continuing to grow, and it's been a fun ride, man.
Yeah, definitely. How many prototypes did it take, like, of the bottle?
Man, it took forever, and really the prototypes were more of the seal than anything. When you attach a metal bottle, anything to metal, it's just hard to seal it. So you got to get the seal right. And the last thing I wanted was a bottle that leaks.
Yeah.
So we went through seal after seal after seal. Like, man, I just want to make sure we get this right, because every metal bottle on the market at that time, which there was other metal bottles, but they weren't insulated. So if you bought a shaker bottle that wasn't insulated, it was metal, it's a conductor. So it's a conductor of heat and cold, and it's absolutely freezing if you put ice in it, or it'll burn your hand if you put hot in it. So I did look at the reviews on that stuff, and people liked them, but they would burn or freeze their hands. But the biggest complaint was the leaking. So I just wanted to make sure that that didn't happen. So it was a lot of prototypes. I would say probably about 15 different seals, and then different bottles. We probably had like 5 or 6 different bottle types as well before we finally made a decision and pulled the trigger on it.
Okay. And then, yeah, how did you guys end up on Shark Tank?
Man, so pretty cool story. I had an email from my agent when I was playing in Denver, so 2012. And it just simply said, hey, Shark Tank's looking for any former or current NFL players to come on the show. If you have any ideas, they'd love for you to submit them here. So I saw it. I love the show. I watched it all the time. And I put I starred my email. I didn't even know what email was really at the time. I never used it, but I put a star on it, man. I just said, man, one day I'm going to go back and I'm going to find this email and I'm going to hit it back and I'm going to have this great idea. And so fast forward, it ended up being 4 years later when I thought of the idea. And I was like, all right, I'm going to hit him back up, but I'm not going to hit him back up yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I at least have something that I can show them that's has some kind of proof of concept, some kind of sales on it, and then I'll hit them up. So I actually waited about 3 months until we had at that time about 25,000 to 30,000 in sales, and I hit them up, and immediately got this response back like, hey, I don't work here anymore. I was like, oh man, I had all these hopes and dreams. I had this big game plan, and she don't even work there anymore. They probably don't even want players anymore. And within 5 minutes, she wrote me back and was like, hey, I did find the girl that works there now who took my spot. Here she is, and introduced me to her. So I was able to move forward with the process. They asked for a video submission immediately. So I made a video of, me working out, catching touchdown passes from the NFL, ripping off my shirt, like everything I possibly could think of just to, really make this video stand out and be entertaining. Because at the end of the day, it's an entertainment show, and I knew that. So I wanted to make sure that I was entertaining enough, and sent it in, waited about 5 days, and I saw a bunch of, people viewed it because it's actually through YouTube as an unlisted video. So I saw the views, and man, within I sat by my phone, and within a couple hours, they called me and said, hey, that was awesome. Like we love to move forward with you. And a lot of paperwork later, and a couple of months later, I was able to get on the show, and the rest was history, man. Went from at that time, got it up to about 80,000 in sales when I got on the show in the first 6 months. So 80,000 first 6 months of the company, and then after Shark Tank in the first 12 months, we did over 3 million in sales. So really, just took it to the next level, man, overnight. Huge proof of concept, and with that, amazing. You probably 10, 20, 50, 100x, the business overnight, but the work with it also, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100x overnight as well, man. So I became, became a full-time job. It was just a side hustle before that. Everything was stored in upstairs in my house here, and just became a full-time thing immediately, and I had to adjust really quick to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, and then how much time was it from filming to the release date of Shark Tank?
Man, so it was a couple months. So the thing they don't tell you is that, I guess that most people don't know, is that they won't tell you if you're going to actually air or not. So you record, you get a
Mhm.
deal, whatever it is, you don't actually know if you're going to air. So only about 70% of them air. There's about 30% that don't. So by stacking up on inventory, you're taking a chance, you're taking a risk, and you also don't know when you're going to air. So they won't tell you until 2 weeks before. So for me, I was like, man, there's no way we're not going to air. But the whole family came on. My
Yeah.
brother was on. Like, they're looking to bring in people that could bring a bigger audience to them. We're going to air. Like, there's 100% no doubt about it. We got a deal. We had all 5 sharks offer. We played Flip Cup on the show, man. Like, we did it all. So I'm sitting there like, there's no chance. So I stacked up, man. We took that time, that 3 months, to make a new bottle, to improve it, to upgrade it, and get it in. And we got it in about a week before the show aired. And we sold out of all of our old stock within 30 minutes, and it was onto the new bottle. So it was a great way to kind of just convert over to this new bottle and this new model, and just pick up a huge customer base overnight.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you made the deal with Mark Cuban and Alex Rodriguez. Are they still involved today?
So Mark's team is, yeah, man, I talk to them pretty much every week, if not multiple times a week. Rob actually, my brother bought Alex out when Rob retired. So Rob retired. He wanted to get in the business world. He really helped me get to where I am today as well, with just promoting the product, coming on Shark Tank, and even bringing in the locker room with him. So he reached out and just said, "Hey, Alex, we're a family. I know you're all about family values as well. We love working with each other. Is there any way that I can buy your shares?" And so they made a cool deal. Rob went on, Barstool with A-Rod, and he also did one of his fitness apps with him. And in exchange, he allowed him to buy the shares back. So it was pretty cool trade off. But it's now Rob and I, and Mark Cuban.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I didn't even know that. Are you ready for some fun questions? We're gonna go from average to savage.
Let's do it, man. I like it. I'm already savage though, man.
All right. Have you done jersey exchanges when you were in the NFL?
I never did, man. No one wanted my damn jersey, man. Come on.
All right, so here's your chance. So who would you want to do a jersey exchange with, and not including your brothers?
Man, for sure. A couple guys. I mean, I wish I did with Peyton Manning. When I was playing with him, that would have been great, because that was cool. But one thing I did get was I stacked up on signed balls, man.
Okay.
Like, we have the option to get as many team signed balls as we want, so I have them all, man. So I have even have the year before with Tebow on it, and I stacked up, man. I have like 10 of them, so that's pretty cool. But so I definitely with Peyton Manning, man. One of my favorite players to play with was DeMarcus Ware.
All
So
right.
I would swap with him as well. Just a great teammate, man, and he's gonna Hall of Famer as well. So definitely those two for sure.
Yeah, when you're not running all your businesses and stuff, what do you like to do in your free time?
Man, lift weights, play with the kids, and man, I don't know. Like, I if I'm not doing something, I lose my mind, man. Like,
Yeah.
I consider boredom like a disease, man.
Yeah.
So I'm always constantly doing something. I like social. I think it challenges me. I think it makes me be creative, and I like the challenge of it. So sometimes you'll see me go pretty hard on social media. I go in and out on it, but I find that as a hobby, man. Like, it really is. Like, to create something new each and every day is a challenge. It really uses your mind. So I consider that as a hobby as well.
Yeah, definitely. And last one, what was more intimidating, going against Brian Urlacher or the Sharks?
Man, I tell people all day, man, it was that first start in the NFL. 100%, man. I mean, someone like Urlacher is a guy that I watched in high school,
Yeah.
and man, you were like, I was so amazed by him. They show all the big hits, like, and then I'm going against him, and and even Lance Briggs, man. Lance Briggs, he was still bringing the heat. He was 8 years in, and he was still, man, like, he wanted to leave his mark, man. So he was coming hard, but yeah, 100%, man. the NFL is so much more intimidating. The thing with the Sharks is that you can prepare. You know, I had nine seasons to watch, where I could pretty much memorize each and every question that they asked, and I came in so prepared that I was confident. And you know that you'll never get that confidence. You'll never be that prepared for a game, because things change on the fly. You know, a guy, they could come out in a completely different defensive scheme that they've never run before, and man, you're just like, wow, now I have to adjust to it. You know, and with adjustments, you know, it comes a lot of uncertainty, and that's why you can just never prepare like you can for a TV show, man. So all day, every day, way more nervous for my first start, probably every start, man. That first kickoff, you know, I was on kickoff coverage, and I was on the kickoff team. So really, that first play was I was always definitely, you know, butterflies, you know, super nervous, almost like, man, like you can't even move. You're kind of frozen for a second until you finally start running and you get that first hit in, and then boom, you're good, man. But yeah, all day NFL.
All right. Actually, I got one last one. Who is there any athlete that you really want to get to use the IceShaker?
Yeah, I don't know if I would consider. Yeah, I mean, he was an athlete, but The Rock, man, all day The Rock.
All right.
If we get The Rock, I would 100% love to get The Rock. You know, an IceShaker, and you know, put the big bull on it, man, and the Brahma bull, and I'd love to see him rock it. But I've tried, man. I told Rob to give him one when he met him, and he did, but I haven't seen it show up yet. So that's kind of the one guy that I wish I could get the product into his hands.
Yeah, it's dope. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the listeners know where they can follow you?
Yeah, for sure, man. So follow me at Chris Gronkowski, Instagram, Twitter, my TikTok. We're actually launching a YouTube channel with all the brothers coming up soon, man. So by the time this releases, it might be out. Check out the product at IceShaker.com, and then at IceShaker Bottle on all the socials. And then last but not least, man, I have a podcast as well called Gronked Up. So listen to me anywhere. You know, we bring in some really cool people, some big time names, man, and it's all about just bringing value. You know, in business, sports, really anything you could think of, we've pretty much covered at this point. And if we haven't, just let us know, man, and I'll find an expert on it, and I'll bring them in, and we'll cover it.